You cannot talk about the roles and responsibilities biblically of a husband without the ones that come with being a wife. I truly believe that a man following who God has made him to be changes his wife in a lot of different ways. It literally says in Proverbs, better to be lost in the desert than married to a quarrelsome woman. I'm just going to say it right here. The way you load the dishwasher doesn't matter. It's the heart behind the act. Are the damn dishes clean when they come out of there? You bet they are. And if they're not, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put it right back in there and let it do it again. It'll get it round two. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Art of Suffering podcast with Dalton Darnell. Ladies, it's time to break down the roles and responsibilities. If there are women listening to this, I think it's only 25% of the podcast, but you cannot talk about the roles and responsibilities biblically of a husband without the ones that come with being a wife. And let me tell you something. I'm pretty hard on the guys. I truly believe that a man following who God has made him to be changes his wife in a lot of different ways. In 1 Corinthians, it says, your wife and your children will be sanctified through you. I know not everyone has experienced that way. A lot of times the mom is the believer before the dad, and that's awesome. It doesn't matter. I just took that verse to heart. I just really did. And so I carry a lot of responsibility in that for myself. And I think it's very important for me to understand my roles and responsibilities and my wife's roles and responsibilities, because if you're talking about walking through life together, it's important to remember what the responsibilities are of one another so that you know when you're doing a good job or not doing a good job, right? Why you're feeling resentful or why you're having a hard time with something, and then when to decipher whether it's the flesh or the spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's like if a husband says to his wife, hey, I know we want to go buy this, but we don't really have the money right now, and your wife gets mad at you about this, are you wrong? Is that wrong? No, it's not. You're leading your family, right? And so your wife has to understand that, like, if her fleshly desires are getting in the way of leading the family, that's the flesh that God needs to deal with in her, and He will. The same goes for a husband, though, right? So if we don't understand what a wife's role and responsibility is for our home, for our relationship, for our children, it's very hard to understand whether it's our flesh irritating us or it's the spirit, if that makes any sense. A good example of this is disciplining children. Like, I do my best for my wife to not have to discipline my children. I want her to be the lover, the nurturer, the gentle one, right? And where you could see a woman getting frustrated with this is they're not usually designed to just be whooping kids, snatching them around and getting them right. You know what I mean? That's a daddy's job. That's a father's role in that realm. And so, like, we go through some of these things, and a lot of these things are your bride being a woman. If she has to come out of that to do something that you're supposed to do, it's gonna conflict with her spirit, and that's gonna get irritating. So let's keep that in mind. We're gonna do the same thing I did for the men, which is funny. I was just looking at this. So if you have the two lists sitting in front of you, the longest bullet point list for a man is heart postures. The longest one for a woman is mannerisms. Right? The shortest one for a man is mannerisms. And hold on. Yeah, the shortest one is mannerisms. The longest one for women is mannerisms. So they're kind of flip-flopped here, which is interesting. So we're going to start with mannerisms just like we did for husbands. And we're going to start off, and once again, all of these verses are going to be in the description or in the show notes of the podcast or on YouTube in the description. Go freaking read them. Ladies, get the book out. Let's go. Go read them, dude. Read them together. Read them all together. That would be cool. I'll let my wife read my bullet point list. And we didn't really talk about it that much, but yeah, we probably should talk about it more because it is really cool. So here we go. First bullet point: present yourself without stain or wrinkle. Okay, so this is usually brought up in the church, maybe, or in Christian circles as your virtue, right? Being a virgin. And while, yes, this is the way I'm going to counsel my sons and my daughters, if I have any, to present themselves on their wedding day, the fact of the reality is that there's a lot of us out there, including myself, that most certainly did not present themselves without stain or wrinkle on that day. And so you have to think about, in my opinion, I've spent a lot of time in my life beating myself up about the past, and it's forgiven, man. If you believe what the Bible says, you are forgiven. Is my nose bleeding? What is going on here? I don't know why my nose is running. Y'all hold on there with me. Coffee got to me or something. So when it comes to presenting yourself without stain or wrinkle, about 2 years ago, I just decided, I was like, I am going to live a guilt-free life. If that freaking Bible says to do it, I'm going to do it. If I know it to be good, I'm going to do it. If you know the good you ought to do and you do not do it, that is a sin for you. And so this, to me, this is my version of presenting myself without stain or wrinkle, and this is what the Bible asks a wife to do. And so if you study up on these things and you live a life that's like, Lord, it's yours, I just want to be who you want me to be, man, there ain't no stain or wrinkle, baby. He wiped that slate clean. The second one, just like the first one, is be blameless. I too, I believe the same thing here. You approach life like, I don't want to ever feel guilty about anything. If I don't know, I'm going to pray about it. But this is what he asks us to do, is to be blameless. The third one is respectful. And this, like I said it on the other one, when I was talking about the mannerisms for a man, like, this is just good people stuff. Like, just don't be an a-hole. You know what I'm saying? Like, just being respectful of other people, their time, it's just common knowledge, in my opinion. Like, when someone's talking to you, look at them, like, I don't know. Like, this is pretty easy stuff for me, in my opinion. And maybe that's why I get along so well with my wife, is that she's very respectful. The only times I've found that she is not respectful is if I'm not being respectful. And this is normally like if I fly off the handle, or in the past, if I've said something sideways, she will immediately go shift, right? Be disrespectful in order to match energy. And then I'm immediately like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because it's so rare... But because it's so rare that she is disrespectful, it's very jarring. I'm like, what the heck was that, So just teach your kids to be respectful, and then just be respectful. It can be difficult at times, but we're talking about, in this particular episode, a husband and wife relationship. This is a person you're with all the time. This is the person that God has given you to enjoy your life with. So respecting that person is very, very important. And men, I'll just say to you, be someone worth respecting, man. Be someone worth respecting. That's important. Do what you say you're going to do. That will go a long way. Just do what you say you're going to do. All right. Number 4, submit. The Bible says for a wife to submit to her husband. And side note, it repeats it 4 times that I found. 4 times it repeats it. So that's important. But men, we have to be someone worth submitting to. And that's what I'm talking about when I said we're not going to read this list in this like wife bashing manner. Like, my wife needs to do this. We're going to read this list with an understanding of how your wife is going to change once you become the husband you're supposed to be. Because if you take the first 3 episodes of this series and you really dive into that scripture and you go, okay, Lord, soften my heart to this, and you start to change, this is what you're going to experience. You're going to have a wife without stain or wrinkle. She's going to be blameless. She's going to be respectful, and then she is going to submit to your leadership because she knows who you are following. If she comes to understand God's heart for you, for her children, she's going to follow you if you're following him. It's a no-brainer. But wives, 4 times it says submit, and it doesn't, it doesn't say submit when he's being awesome. It says submit. This goes back to like honoring your mother and father. It doesn't say honor your mother and father if they're good. It doesn't say honor your mother and father when they're being nice. It says honor your mother and father. It doesn't say treat your wife as Christ treated the church if she's being cool. Right? It says to die for her. Okay? So some of these things are going to have to be done even though we're in the transformation side of all this stuff. We're not going to get perfect down here on earth. So everybody's going to be changing all the time. Mistakes are going to be made. That does not negate our responsibilities or the mannerisms that we should take. A wife should be self-controlled. Okay. She should be. We all should be. We all should be. And I know in my own journey here on earth with my wife, there's a time in my life where I didn't have very good self-control, and she had an unbelievable amount of self-control, and it helped me kind of stabilize. Like I'd be flying off the handle, and she would just be cool as a cucumber. And it helped me find medium, right? It helped me find the even point in my life. Kind. A wife should be kind. We should all be kind. But there is just something about your wife being kind to you that it will change your whole day. That one person just being kind changes everything. It changes everything about the day for me. So women, you have to understand the impact that this stuff has on your husband. You meeting your roles and responsibilities makes it easier for him to do that, just like him meeting his roles and responsibilities makes it easier for you to do this. And I think that's one of the keys to marriage that we don't talk about often, is that we must operate from a pure selfless standpoint. Like, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do for Kara no matter what. It doesn't matter what kind of day she's having. It doesn't matter if she's being mean or kind or whatever. It doesn't matter. The roles of the husband do not change based on the actions of the spouse, short of adultery, right? If we're just having a crappy day or her hormones are crazy because we're in the luteal phase or whatever, it doesn't matter. I am to be consistent. I am to maintain my level of love and acceptance and grace and mercy and kindness for her no matter what. And if we both operate in this way, or try to, 99 out of 100 days are going to be freaking awesome. And even that 100th day will not be a fight, because one of the two parties is going to be operating in this way while the other one's having a hard time. So it won't be a fight, because there's no fight to pick. There's nothing to push against. If I recognize that my wife is having a hard day, I'm going to go, well, she's just having a hard day. And I'm just going to run around and do what I got to do to help her out. And if she's ugly to me or has a moment where she's off and isn't perfect, we're just going to ignore that shit, because it doesn't happen all the time. Focus on the good, ignore the bad. The good will get greater, the bad will get lesser. These are facts. Noble and not disgraceful. Yeah, I mean, lots of these go without saying. Like, and you see these television shows where women, and I'm telling you, we probably don't need to jump off into this, but you guys probably have a similar opinion as me. But you see these people out, these strong, independent women, and yada, 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 and just feminist, and gosh, dude, it deeply saddens me, because this is not the role of a woman. You don't want to do this. You don't want it. You don't want to have to be the breadwinner. You don't want to have to be the protector. You don't want this stuff. There's a reason why the roles are separate. There's a reason why. And one of the most beautiful things about a woman, as far as when it comes to my own wife, are her emotions, her natural emotions as a woman. But these natural emotions that allow her to love my children deeply, that allow her to be super empathetic towards me and my children, that allow her to be kind and loving and caring and nurturing, all of these things are contradictory to what a man has to do. And I mean that, like, if I walked around all day in my life filled with these emotions, I couldn't complete the mission God's asking me to complete when it comes to my work, when it comes to the kingdom. Because these emotions are a lot, man. And so you see all this stuff in the world where these women are almost bullying their husbands around and being ugly and like disgraceful is what I would call it. Like, that's what we're talking about, being noble and not disgraceful. And part of that is because the man is not leading and he doesn't understand his roles and responsibilities. And the other part of it is that when a man does not assume his roles and responsibilities, when he doesn't take the position and handle it, the wife will start trying to do these things on her own, because she has to. Someone has to keep the house right. Someone has to keep the finances. Someone has to go out and make money. Someone has to discipline the kids. And if the husband isn't doing his part, the wife is going to assume the position, and then what she's going to become is two things: prideful and mean. Well, she's prideful because she's doing all of your work, and she's mean because she resents you because she's doing all of your work. If your wife is the disciplinarian in your home, check that shit up. That ain't it. Your wife should not be the primary disciplinarian to your children. Right? And this kind of is going to go, this is down the road. We're not supposed to be talking about this yet, but this is just something, it's just coming to me right now as far as like things I'm thinking about that create an environment where a woman has to be hardened. You don't want this. So do your job, right? You do your job, she can do her job. And a woman's natural inclination is to love and nurture. Let her love and nurture. Let her do that. It's so beautiful. It's awesome. And that's not to say my wife doesn't discipline my children, because if I'm not around and them boys are acting like boys and being a dank, you know what I mean? She'll snatch one up and have a talking with them, you know. But I try to instill in them that, like, Mama is here to love on you. Daddy is here to turn you into a man. That's what I try to do anyway. It doesn't always work out perfect like that. So this is another thing that is mentioned in Proverbs a couple of times. Go look this up. But the next one is never quarrelsome. It literally says in Proverbs, better to be lost in the desert than married to a quarrelsome woman. Ladies, I'm just going to say it right here. And you know what? Bring the hate in the comments, whatever you got to do. The way you load the dishwasher doesn't matter. It's the heart behind the act. Are the damn dishes clean when they come out of there? You bet they are. And if they're not, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put it right back in there and let it do it again. It'll get it round two. If you're bickering to be bickering, if you're arguing to be arguing, if your way's got to be right, check yourself up. If your man is loading the dishwasher so you don't have to do it, let him do it. Because the last thing, and I'm just being honest, the last thing I want to hear is that what I'm doing is wrong when it doesn't matter. I'm not framing our house, right? Like, nobody's going to die if the dishes go in a little jumbled up. I'm just trying to get done with the day just like you are. Let all that go. It doesn't matter. Because what we're going to find, if we quarrel about these things that do not matter, that is irritating. Okay? It's annoying. So don't do it. Just don't do it. Because it doesn't matter. And you can get in these comments and argue if you want to. I'm not going to argue back with you because I know. I know. And you're going to say, if he would just do it right, then I wouldn't have to say anything. No, him just doing it is doing it right. Period. Period. And my argument to this is, like, I take the trash out. Always. I always take the trash out. And if I walked into that kitchen, and I tie the bags up when I take the trash out sometimes. Sometimes I don't. It depends on how full the bag is, right? But what if I walked into that kitchen and my wife was taking the trash out so I didn't have to? And I stopped her mid-bag pull, and I said, hey, you going to tie them bags up? And she says, well, no, I wasn't going to. You have to tie the bags up. She immediately would be like, that's annoying. What? I'm taking the trash out. You're not having to take the trash out. What does it matter how I take the trash out? It doesn't matter. Men, if you're doing this, shut up. Hey, thank you for taking the trash out. That's it. Hey, thank you for doing the dishes. That's it. That's it. If them damn dishes get in that dishwasher and you go to unload it and one out of them 40 dishes is not clean to your standard, just leave it in there for the next round. That's it. That to me is not being quarrelsome. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ladies, gentlemen, come on. Come on. Be prudent. Somebody look this up, because I looked it up and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember what it said, honestly. I might have wrote it down. Let me see. Is prudent. It's in Proverbs. Yeah, I Googled it, but my phone is actually shooting the video right now, so I can't look that up. You guys look that up. Comment below what prudent means. And let's do that. It's in there. Let's be prudent. Sorry. I should have prepared better. Yeah, I remember Googling that. I just can't remember what it means. The last one is speaks wisdom. Now, this is something my wife does really well, and she does it really gently. Like, she doesn't, like, wag a finger. She's just like, hey, what do you think about this? That woman can intrigue a thought in my brain so fast. She can get those wheels turning on something and get me thinking. And she does this gently. It's not like a mean thing. She just offers helpful guidance throughout all of the situations in my life. Ladies, you have a very hard job because you are marrying men that are learning how to be men because of all sorts of reasons. But we're trying, and we're going to do better. And now we know what the Word says, so we're going to keep after it. And I just want to thank you guys for your understanding and your sacrifice and your service to us, especially my wife to me. Kara, if you ever watch this, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Guys, if you have any questions, leave them below. Y'all don't be arguing about the dishes. Next week, we're going to talk about the heart posture of a wife. There's only 4 of them, but they're big ones. And this is from a man's perspective, so keep that in mind. Go read the verses. They're in the description. It's very important that you just go read the verses, okay? I don't know how many times I got to say that. But thank y'all so much for listening. If you need me, reach out. Dalton at 310edu.com is my email address. I love you. I'll see you in the next episode. Never weaken.